everyone. So excited to have this guest. I did a bunch of research back last spring when I was in my first year of my program. And Dr. Jeff, do you want me to just call you Jeff?
Jeff, please, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff really stood out for the work that he's doing. My heart is really in prevention work as well. We connected. We've been trying to make this happen for a minute because we both have kind of challenging schedules. And so Jeff is also an associate professor down at University of Oregon. So really happy to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time. I know there's been a lot of personal events in your life too that has contributed to a lot of growth probably for you since you and I even reached out. So very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah. We're just going to start really simple, okay? What books are you currently reading?
Oh, gosh. I just read My Grandmother's Hands.
Oh, really?
Do you know that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's about a number of things, but for me, the kind of primary takeaway is the relationship between harm culturally and our bodies. And it's largely a story of truth-telling about harm. And then a lot of it's about being hopeful about how we can sort of get out of the hardships that we face as a culture. So it's a lot of really powerful cultural commentary. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's powerful.
Okay. It has been recommended to me before. Remind me of who the author is?
It's Menachem.
Okay.
Yeah. Menakem, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listening or watching and wants to look it up as
powerful.
well. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that recommendation. Name something you can't live without right now besides people.
Oh my gosh. I've been a little too dependent on caffeine probably. So I'm going to go I'm not sleeping enough. So that's been my coping strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But the new year's coming, so we'll see what happens.
2026 could bring a totally new change in your life.
Right.
Yeah. It
true.
is the year of the one. Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't know what that is.
Yeah. So in numerology, it's how the numbers add up, but the dates. So 2025 is the year of 9, and it's the year of the snake in Chinese astrology. So it's a year of shedding and endings. Anything that started this year most likely has fallen apart this year. A lot of things have fallen apart this year. We're seeing that out kind of in our government and political system.
Yeah.
A lot of things are falling apart to begin anew, to build over. And so next year is the year of the one, and in Chinese astrology it's also the year of the horse, so it's much faster energy. Things are going to shift. So yes, it could be that you do a big shift next year.
Things are going to happen.
Maybe you have more self-care and you allow yourself more rest. You have had a lot going on personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that the 1 follows the 9.
Me too.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
If you died but could come back to Earth for 5 minutes just to experience one last thing, what would it be?
For 5 minutes. Wow. It's a long list, but you know what's coming first is I think I'd want to be at the Last Supper.
Really?
And I'm was raised in a kind of the Christian faith, and I love Jesus. I don't really practice Christianity right now. I have lots of conflict around that, and I think that would be an amazing moment. Assuming the Last Supper happened, that would be.
None of us really know, but I'm fairly certain it happened.
Yeah.
How we tell stories is very interesting to me. I think you probably know that even in the work that you do, that we tell stories how we see them and what our perception of reality is. So I'm sure that the Last Supper did happen, how it happened, and if it happened that way, who's to know? None of us really know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting time. Tell us more. Why that time?
That's just what came to mind. But that was a time in history, it seems, that has shaped a lot of the future. And
Yes.
we've continued to try to figure out what does it really mean to be connected with each other, and what is reconciliation, and how do we actually deal with conflict. And there were some threads there, around thinking that through. And I think we've really, in my view, we really struggled to really apply many of those ideas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just what came to mind
Especially
right
now.
now.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
know. No pressure.
Yeah.
I just was curious, the therapist in me, tell me more.
There's a therapist in me too.
Caught
So
me. I know. You caught me. I saw it. What did you love doing as a child? And when you look at your work now, where do you still see that kid?
Oh, wow. We played outside so much. And I grew up in a tiny town in the northern part of the state of Washington, Nooksack, Washington.
Okay.
Which is flooding right now.
I was going to say, is it underwater?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. The Whatcom County is, right now, a lot of people are suffering.
I know.
Yeah. And so that's my hometown. And we played in the woods a bunch, in the creeks that are now quite flooded. And so my memory is we would be gone the entire day and just explore.
We were too.
We were hunting Bigfoot and all, we had big imagination. So I think the part of that is maybe carried forward is, one, the love of the outdoors, but then I like the idea of creativity and just exploring. And a lot of what I've done with my adult life has been a kind of an exploration. Yeah.
Or adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, gone are the days when we would just be gone, when kids would be gone all day.
I think I was gone all day.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on our horses going miles away from home, pretending that we were Laura Ingalls Wilder. Like, we were absolutely gone all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our parents were either working or, I don't know about yours, mine were working. Yeah.
Doing something. They're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would even cross, when I was in middle school, we could cross the Canadian border on our bicycles. And the border agents would say, "Hey, have a nice day, boys," going into Canada and coming back in the United States as middle school kids. It's a very different context. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gone are those days, too.
Yeah.
That innocence.
Mm-hmm.
If you could change one thing about how you were raised, what would it be? And how has that shaped the work you do today?
Wow. I love your questions.
Thank you.
I think we would have had a way to be more honest with each other, and been able to turn toward the harm that was happening, and been able to have real conversations about that, and then to just be more deeply connected. My home life had a lot of really positives, and there was a lot of connection. I knew I was loved, and some hurtful things were happening, and there wasn't a way to kind of get out of it seemed, because we didn't have a way to turn toward the conversation. So would have been more real, I think, and around harm. And when harm occurred, we'd have a way to navigate it that was more connected and more on the side of healing. Yeah.
So the repair was missing.
The acknowledgement often was missing, as if it didn't happen. And then repair happens slowly but indirectly. Yeah.
Like as you came back together.
Yeah. There was lots of love. Yeah. But it was indirect. And it didn't acknowledge what actually had just happened. Yeah, usually. Rarely acknowledged it. Yeah.
Tell me a childhood memory you don't usually share publicly, but that quietly changed the way you see safety or love.
Gosh. That influenced the way I see safety and love is the part of this. Yeah. I'll share this. I haven't really talked about this much at all with other than just with a really few very close friends and family. But and this is another example of turning away And so when I was 17 in this white body with a lot of privilege, and I was sexually harassed by a female teacher that became also to me it felt like an assault because she touched me in ways I didn't invite and couldn't immediately stop, and had written me a letter that was really, really inappropriate. She was a student teacher, and it sort of invited me to go for a drive, which I naively did. And so I won't get into all the details, but it was really inappropriate. And so that shaped me in many ways in terms of turning toward issues in our culture that I probably wouldn't have, maybe turned toward or paid attention to in the same way. And so it was really, I felt like I was being attacked physically.
Wow.
And so I had a lot, my central nervous system, all the things. But what it did for me was I got more clear about that is not how you want to treat somebody. And so I learned in that hard moment a lot about consent and what is consent and how to operate and what does that mean for me in my life and how I want to treat others. So, there were some really powerful lessons that shaped a lot of what I've done with or chosen to do with my life. So, yeah.
There usually are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you end up telling your family about that experience?
No.
Okay,
no.
so you had to deal with it all by yourself.
But it was kind of a more of a joke than anything. People kind of thought it was funny.
Wow.
Those who knew, and there was talk about that she was flirting with me, and it was sort of known. I didn't tell, other than a couple of really close friends, the details of the letters that she wrote. It was really, really graphic, what she wanted to do with me.
Wow.
And so I didn't share that with many people. My closest friend was like, that is not, he was really clear, that is not okay. And then I had some friends who were like, oh man, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. And
yeah. Like, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of known. But I had lots of messages that it wouldn't be appropriate really to disclose it, and I didn't really think adults would do much about it. I had other reasons to believe that, so mostly just kept it to our peers. Yeah.
Did you grow up in a family that taught you about a healthy sense of boundary, like sexual boundary, external boundaries, any of that? Yeah, so you were vulnerable.
No, there was no conversation about healthy sexuality.
Okay.
That I recall.
Yeah.
And we shied away from it, really, I think, in the school system at that time, and still largely. I think today that's true largely.
Yeah.
Not everywhere, but largely.
Was this in the 60s? 70s.
Well, what do you think?
70s.
Yeah, no. I graduated from high school in 81, so this would have been, this is the early
70s.
70s.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this incident I'm describing now is 1979, I guess, or 80. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't do the math there. I know we're close to the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And then you did say 17. So I was trying to do the math there.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that. I don't want to just shift and laugh that off. But thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you share a bit about your personal journey and how it led you into violence prevention and childhood safety and well-being work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of what I shared, briefly is tied to that.
Yeah.
And so there were hardships that happened and I was aware of them, and I always had this sense, it's like, this is not okay. And it keeps happening. So I was just, as I mentioned before, I was a little more tuned in. I probably would have been otherwise if some of those things weren't happening. So I wanted how I felt not to continue to happen to others, but I wasn't sure what to do with that. So I had a path where I thought about prevention and public health. So I went to school and I worked at a cement plant for a while and a dairy farm and did a number of things. Worked at a funeral home. Yeah, this is Washington, but yeah.
Washington, sorry, yes.
But similar, yeah. And so did some of those things, but then eventually did a degree in public health and health education. Was thinking I would maybe do something in a school setting, and then got more clear about it. I think I actually want to be a therapist. So I did a master's degree in counseling at Seattle Pacific University. And,
Okay.
yeah. And then was wanting to really support survivors was the thing I, did a lot of for about 10 years. It was, and, doing the thing that you're looking to do and worked as a therapist. And then later wanted to do more work that I thought was more prevention oriented and working to change the conditions where harm, tends to occur. And so started moving that direction. Yeah.
Okay, can we go back to something that you said? Because I just want to clarify, and I may have heard you incorrectly. You said it kept on happening. So were there several incidents where this kept happening in your life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was repetitive kinds of harm. Not with the
same
mention
woman.
that I mentioned with the teacher was that was ongoing in some ways because she was ever present.
Yeah.
But that the one incident, she later apologized and asked me to destroy the letter and said she said she shouldn't have done that. So that wasn't itself repetitive. But earlier in my life, there were a number of things that happened. It happened persistently.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did you ever, it sounds like, obviously you've done a lot of work around this, but it sounds like at that time, if you could go back in time, did you ever feel like, was there ever some consciousness around it of like, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah. For some reason, I didn't think about it as happening to me as much as it was just happening.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was causing it.
Okay.
Which was kind of a protective factor.
Sure.
And it was confusing because it was paired with a lot of love and connection, So there were a number of protective factors that I think really were really important, actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What does childhood safety and well-being mean to you, not just in policy language, but in real lived experience for kids and families? And why is this so important?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think, it's important just fundamentally that basically that our kids, so we owe it to them that they enjoy a world that is safe and connected. So it's like, I think the primary responsibility of adulthood. So there's that. So that's for me, the baseline. Well, what do we owe our kids, and what do we want them to be able to say about the experience they're having with us, as adults? So there's that, and I think so much of it's about connection and belongingness, and so we have used some of the language in our work at the University of Oregon around a connected child as a protected child, and so connection in and of itself. Does foster safety and more. But maybe I'll stop there. Yeah.
Why do you have to stop? You can keep going if you want.
Do you want to say the question again? Let me make sure I got you. Yeah,
of course. What does childhood safety and well-being mean to you, not just in policy language, but in real lived experience for kids and families? And why is this so important?
Yeah. I think, a lot of it is about that we have a way to do two things. Change we can talk about this maybe more a little later, but change the conditions where harm continues to happen. And there's a lot that we can do about that. It's not like a mystery. And it's not multiple leaps, it's a hop. We're close. So there's that. So to sort of change the conditions. And then a lot of it too, I think, is about we have work, in my view, we have a lot of work to do around cleaning up and turning toward a historical harm that has happened in the spaces where we live, that's harmed our land and harmed our relationships. And think about First Peoples and all that they've experienced and continue to experience. And I think we're all harmed by that. And so it's both what happens interpersonally, so that kids are connected and safe and supported, but it happens in a context, obviously, and we've got, when we think about reducing harm, we also think about returning to some truthfulness about what occurred in these spaces And that's not like anti-American to say these things happened in our view. It's actually an opportunity to get closer to the ideals of this society. We started out by being harmful. We continue to be harmful. And changing those conditions is a part of the work to ensure kids are safe. And so that's just where I go in my view. Yeah.
No one is free until everyone is free.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about how you see we're just a hop away. We'll get to that. Okay. What's one social myth about child abuse, neglect, or bad parents that you wish you could retire forever?
Gosh, even the language there, that's where a lot of us go. I know that's not language you would probably use, but bad parents. That's like, well, okay, some of us do really hurtful things, definitely.
We do really hurtful things without even being parents.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah. So I don't know. None of us are maybe immune to that, and it's hard to find empathy and compassion for someone who's harmed their child.
Yeah.
So because there's accountability and all those things are important, and the majority of people who harm their kids really do regret it and don't want to, and some will justify it and continue to harm kids. There's that. We have to deal with that, but typically it's more about parents are needing support.
Yeah.
And it's not about damning parents. It doesn't get us out of this to damn parents and just to be so negative toward parents. It's more around, hey, what do you need? How can we be supportive, et cetera? What do you need? What do I think you need? And it's not about coming in and rescuing someone. It's what do you need? And we're in a society where it is hard to raise kids. And there are so many stressors. And we can be more supportive of each other and more supportive of parents. And one way we can do that is to just strike from our language bad parents and get more creative and not minimize it so that hurtful things happen, but we can be more creative even in our language in a way that invites parents to know that it's okay to seek support, that we all need it sometimes. Yeah.
You've had years of experience with child welfare systems, communities, and survivors. What has that experience taught you about what actually heals?
Well, healing, I think, begins with acknowledgement that it's difficult to heal when it's the thing that was harmful is denied, minimized, pushed aside. Now, not that you couldn't heal individually under those circumstances. I think people can and do, but it's just a different kind of a path. If you have to also do the work to say, you know what, this actually did happen, and you have to work so hard at saying this actually did happen, and I know it happened. I haven't lost my mind. That takes a lot of energy, and it interferes with a path to healing. And a lot of people move through that and heal. But that's also something we can do, is to be more real about what has happening around us, and change the circumstance where a survivor doesn't have to work so hard to convince others that they in fact were harmed. That we can, that's an action that we can take.
Believe the victims. In your promotive plan, you're helping Oregon move from reacting to abuse towards preventing it. I should say Oregon and California. In simple terms, what does this shift look like for children and their families?
Well, a couple of things about that. The promotive plan, I'm going to give a little context to that, okay?
Please do.
Yeah. So the promotive plan, which is about sort of what are those more specific things we can do that isn't so hypothetical to reduce harm. And I encourage people to look at that when it's ready, because it reduces the mystery. It's like, okay, those are things we can do. And it was designed so that you and I can see ourselves in the solution. It's not some hypothetical for someone else. It's like, we can be in it. But some of the context is that was formed by a lot of people in Oregon and Siskiyou County, California. Our center, and I was involved in writing that, compiled the information. And we were in a lot of those conversations, but that was born of something called Protect Our Children. And I encourage, if folks who haven't heard about Protect Our Children, it is a initiative that was funded by the Ford Family Foundation and led by Mary Radcliffe and Brenda Mendoza. And now for about 10 years, and it's over now 50,000 people have been trained. And the focus, it's a training around what can you and I do to reduce childhood sexual abuse. And so that work, our team did evaluation of that work. It's really powerful. There's reason to be hopeful about prevention education and its impact and its effectiveness. So there's that. The Ford Family Foundation supported more of a movement around how do we work together as communities to prevent harm. And so the promotive plan is sort of an extension of that work and led by Protect Our Children. And so we're lucky to be a part of that effort. And so I encourage people to check that out, because if you're saying to yourself, how do we take on a complex problem like child maltreatment and child sexual abuse? How do we possibly reduce harm? It's not a mystery. And people in rural Oregon and in rural Siskiyou County have thought about this a lot and are leading the way around how you and I can join in those efforts to change the conditions where harm occurs. So it is, there's a message of hope in that work. And so, what I'm hoping is many more people will pay attention. Yeah.
When will it be available?
The Protect Our Children work and its evaluation and all that is available now. It's on the CSAW website and plus the Protect Our Children website. The promotive plan is under review by the community, the Protect Our Children community. It's in a draft form, and we're not sharing it out yet because we want to dig in a little more, and it's too long, so not many people probably read the full thing. So we're working to move it into an executive summary, and so it's more approachable. So it's a couple months out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I'll let you know if you're interested when it's ready. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah, because that'll probably be good timing for when this airs. Yeah.
Okay.
So
awesome.
definitely, definitely let me know.
Okay.
Is there anything more that you want to share about that?
I think I would encourage folks to pay attention to the impact of what happens when a foundation, so for instance in Oregon, it's the Ford Family Foundation, made a decision to fund and support a collective effort. So they went beyond after the harm interventions like counseling, which I value for sure. They decided to move more upstream, to apply something called the collective impact, and to fund a movement around building systems to make a difference. And I know that it can sound a little systems or whatever.
Heady.
Yeah, but it actually there are specific things on the ground that are part of that work. And so, but it has to be supported by a healthy kind of infrastructure. Otherwise, it dies on a vine. And so Protect Our Children is both a healthy infrastructure of organizations all over rural Oregon and Siskiyou with really practical, specific things, again, that you and I can do. That's what I love about it. It's not just hypothetical. It's far from just being academic and research. It's not. Some of that's in there, but it's about what you and I can do. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work on that as well.
Lots of people working hard.
I know, but you're one of them.
I am.
And I don't know all of the other people, so I can't thank them.
Fair enough. Yeah.
What can communities, neighborhoods, or faith groups do if they start to feel overwhelmed by the scale of violence and trauma, such as what is going on right now with ICE? What is a realistic first step?
Yeah. Just want to take a deep breath, really, right? This is hard. Yeah. This is a really hard time.
It is.
Yeah. And
especially in our lifetimes.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of repeating things that have happened across many generations.
Yes,
It's
we
like,
are.
gosh. And
Just as that generation starts to die and forget, right?
Yeah.
The memory is forgotten with them.
Yeah.
We start to relive it again. It's disappointing.
And so it's, and people are, disagreeing about things of substance in many ways. It's like, we got a complicated problem here. And a lot of people are suffering right now and have been for a long time, some more than others. And so it is a complicated problem. And I really worry about some of the ways in which we're trying to work our way out of it. We're just hurting each other in the midst of hurting. And it's not the way to get out of the mess we're in, to be just so petty, to not be truthful. It's like, do we have the capacity? I think we do. But do we have the capacity, and are we ready to lean into a more humane conversation? And I think we need help. Yeah,
We do.
We need help to get that done. And I do think we have the capacity, but I'm discouraged about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially, I mean, I assume that you've heard about the detention centers for children in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're reading about a lot of that, and I want to be there and see it and understand it better, and part of what is hard too is, we can say that this is what's happening here and there. And half of us are going to say that's bullshit. It's not happening. It's being made up. And it's like, well, how do we get to what's actually real?
Well,
and have
also,
a conversation about that?
What would be the point? This is what I always wonder. What would be the point of making that up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
do
to
we
win
really
what?
like?
To win
do we
what?
really
I
need to
agree.
make up more horrible things that are happening?
Yeah.
I don't know what the advantage would be.
Mm-hmm.
That's always kind of my argument. Like,
Yeah.
what? Who's getting something
for
out
what?
of that?
For
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Yeah. And I do think, we could look at that exact same situation. You and I and someone else could walk into that camp and experience it, feel whatever we feel, walk away, and have each of us have a very different story to tell about it. And so, it's more about, can we, even if our view of what is there is different, can we still have a conversation about those differences towards something that ensures our kids and our communities are safe and connected?
Right.
It's like,
are we on the same team here? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same team here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if only counselors were in charge of the world. Just imagine what would happen.
Well, I think listening goes a long way.
It sure does.
Listening without judgment.
ChatGPT is not taking over for us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Listening without judgment is powerful. Yeah. Which is,
I
had this funny thing happen the other day.
That's a skill.
Oh, that's definitely a skill.
And I would say there's a good portion of America that doesn't practice that skill.
Yeah. It's a practice. Yeah.
I
sure think so.
Is.
It takes intentionality.
It sure does.
Yeah. I had this incredible thing happen the other day where somebody said, "Yeah, I went to a few therapists, but I stopped going because they were all so judgmental." I said, "Well, it shouldn't be like that. I don't know what you experienced, but yeah, you imagine that, a judgmental therapist. Now, we have judgments, but what do you do with them? But anyway,
of course.
It's like, really? Oh, shoot. I have spent a lot of time training therapists, so don't train them to be judgmental.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I mean, we are human.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that shouldn't enter the room.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to be mindful about that. Anyway, this person had several therapists, and their experience was they were judgmental. So I would like to know more about that, because how do you listen without judgment? It is a practice. You have to be really intentional about it, I think. Yeah.
And also back to we all have our own perceptions of reality. I would also be very curious about that person's experience of judgment too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I would love to hear more.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you believe that connecting community level prevention with individual healing is key. Can you share why that integration matters so much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of many that, I'll keep saying that, that believe that the relationship between healing and prevention, right? Is that, yeah. So, it's kind of the thing that thwarts healing is also the thing that thwarts prevention. And so they're so connected. And some people think about like healing as like downstream is the metaphor I know, or it's secondary or tertiary, prevention's after. And I think healing and prevention are really closely connected. And we're
Why
more
is
likely,
that?
well, we're more likely to heal, for instance, in my view, if one, we have turned toward, acknowledged the thing that occurred. So that's one key step toward healing. And then it also then includes support and connection, holding space, like kind of turning toward it and staying there and just being present. And so a lot of the conditions that support healing, if we do those things to harm before it occurs, turn toward, hold attention, acknowledge the things that are happening in society, that it's real, they're very similar, connected. And so healing and prevention, I think, are close cousins in a loop, Yeah.
Imagine if, again, everyone was modeled the ability to turn toward or sit with discomfort, where we would be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just that.
Just that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. To sit with discomfort. Yeah.
Yes.
And we got a lot of it.
Yes.
And what do we tend to do? I mean, ask myself, when I feel discomfort, what do I tend to do? And the easiest thing to do is to get super dysregulated or whatever and freak out. And it does take more practice and intentionality. So stay grounded, stay with someone, be present. It's some people say listening is I'm not doing anything, I'm just listening. Well, you might be doing the most important thing.
That's what we learn. That's what we learn in school.
Yeah.
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 To sit with someone. That's the most important thing to do. That is the intervention. That you might be the only person that is sitting with that person in their life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've built careers and out of that,
Yeah.
What would happen if like what you're being trained to do, and I try myself to, if that were more of a norm?
That's what I mean.
Right? Yeah.
It's like we need an entire reparenting to happen.
I think it goes far beyond parents too. I mean, it's in every space. If we did connection and listening,
we need to reparent each other. I guess is my point, to do that reparative.
Reparenting. Yeah.
I don't mean getting rid of parents. I mean like if we were able to reparent ourselves and heal that part of ourselves that is wounded, whether you want to look at it through attachment theory or whatever that is for you, if you're able to repair that, if that was modeled to you, if that got modeled to every person,
I love that,
in the right way, even as adults, we would be able to make that repair with each other.
Yeah, if that was how we live our lives. Yeah. Hey, I actually want to make a quick comment here too around reparenting. Have you heard about Oasis in Portland? No. Oh yeah. It's Oregon Abuse Advocates and Survivors in Service, and an incredible organization in our community. And one of the things that they do is something called reparenting. It's some work that they developed, and many of our staff have gone through that experience. And so check it out. Oasis.
Thank you. I didn't know anything about them.
I mean, in my view, they are a gift in our community. Yeah.
Okay. I will absolutely. I will talk to you offline about that as well when we finish up here.
Yeah, you'll fall in love with them.
I already have. I was like, wait, what?
I did a long time ago. Yeah. Many people would.
You know all the cool people.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. This is good timing. So what hurdles have you personally faced, and how have you worked through them while doing such emotionally demanding work?
Gosh, I there have been hurdles definitely, and some of it's been how do you stay in it, because I think even earlier I didn't know quite what I was doing and where I was going with my life. Basically, sort of things continued to happen, and I didn't have a lot of resources, so there was I consistently worked a lot to pay my way, and then other people in my life too that were part of that. But and so just being able to stay in it, was challenging in and of itself, just financially. So there's that, and I'm trying to stay encouraged. There are moments when I've definitely felt discouraged because money continues to be a factor. You can build something. Like we started something in our community called the 90 by 30 initiative, and you can build it, you can start it. Starting it is the easiest thing to do in one way, though it's not easy. But it's in some ways the easiest thing to do. There's energy, there's momentum, people are at the table. The challenge is to sustain the thing. And so I have found that the largest challenges are in sustaining. And even things that are really powerful and a lot of people support, it can be hard to sustain them. Mm-hmm. So that can be, it's like a test of endurance, Yeah. So there's that. And for me, I've been able to stay, and I hope this is true for others who are doing things that are passionate for them, is I'm really so fortunate to be around just incredible people. Yeah, for a whole adult life, my entire life. And that's true of the people in my community in Lane County and the work that we're doing together around prevention, and then throughout the state of Oregon and beyond. So there's a lot of energy coming in that I feel personally too, and so that's made any hurdles seem relatively small, in some ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say you do work with some pretty incredible people. Mm-hmm. You've had some very, very amazing experiences as far as when I look at your career.
True. Yeah, true.
Yeah, you've been on the cutting edge of so many things. It's so great.
A lot of people really, if you have a shared goal, that in a vision, it's like you have to envision it to achieve it.
Yep.
Then there's a lot of people who want that to happen.
Yeah.
And
they just need the leader. Yeah.
And a bunch of co-leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think about everyone is in a leadership role, in many ways. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What are you still working on healing in yourself?
Let's see. In myself, what am I still working on healing in myself? Gosh. I think trying to slow down a little bit, to do a little more paying attention, so of my own process. There's a lot happening, and I've personally made a lot of commitments to a lot of things, and somehow in there's healing, and because I'm really believing those things. And it's easy to sort of get detached from your body, so to speak. And so I think, as we talked about the new year in one, I think, need to really think about what does my body need a little more of and a little less of. So I don't know if that sounds strange, but that it's just... that's where my mind goes right now. It's like I think I need to do just a little bit of slowing down, settling, a little more settling. If you look at, I mentioned my grandmother's hands, the idea of settling, he says a lot about settling, and both for the individual, but also for culture and for the U.S. society. He would say right now the United States is incredibly unsettled. And we will do better if we settle in to the moment and connect. So that is true for me, I think, individually too. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I mean, one can say that you're drawn to this profession and this career path because there's something that you were looking to heal within yourself.
Oh, definitely.
As well. Yeah. Same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What old ideas about yourself or your work are you outgrowing, and what is that leaving space for?
Gosh. I have to think about that one. We come back to that.
Yes, of course we can.
Do you mind repeating it?
What old ideas about yourself or your work are you outgrowing, and what is that leaving space for?
Yeah, I think that I have valued being on the margins, and like I have been an instructor at the university for a long time, and I have gone from being more in the center, thinking that's what you needed to do, like you're giving the lecture and this is about you and all the things you can say, and all the research you can promote, and so that's kind of the old, I guess. I've let more and more letting that go, and I'm much more on the margins, even like in a class. And so, like, I suppose if you somehow counted the words 20 years ago, and I teach a class called Violence, Trauma, and Healing.
Yes.
My words, if they were here in 20 years ago, they are here now. And so that's what I mean by being more on the margin. That's where I'm more comfortable anyway. And they're not like there are fewer words. The words now are being filled with Jen Gomez and Patricia Cortez and Elaine Walters, incredible folks from Oasis, Nancy Scott, and others. And so I've wanted to make sure that multiple voices are captured in anything I'm doing. And that's why, and I much prefer that. It's like, here, listen to these individuals, not just to me by any means. And I think it's a much richer experience. And so, yeah.
When you feel overwhelmed by the stories that you hear or the losses that you witness, what do you do to come back to yourself and stay in the work?
Yeah, because there are a lot of losses that happen all the time. Yeah. In December 9th, 2009, I believe, is when Jeanette Maples died. And, I have on my wall in my office a cut out a news article about Jeanette Maples. And Jeanette was a child in our community who died while in the care of her parents, and really gross neglect and abuse. It's actually got a lot of national attention, and so that it's kind of both where something really hard like that is, I almost want to keep it, not let it go, and I've literally had it on my wall all those years. And I have it in my electronic calendar every December 9th at Jeanette Maples. And I just want to reflect on her life and the loss of her life and the circumstances that contributed to that. And systems are trying to be supportive. They got a lot of criticism for not protecting Jeanette, and those systems need us to support them in new ways, in different ways, and our center's involved in some of that work. And it's not just about systems stepping in. It really is about community. We all have a role. And so that, I've really wanted to hang on to that story in Jeanette's life, and that's what keeps me in it, actually. The other thing that has kept me in this is we've spent a lot of time, I'm one of many, to really ask Oregon youth about the harm they've experienced. We call it the prevalence study. And it's both, we ask a whole series of questions about harm. We also ask our youth about, what do you recommend? What do you think we can do to change the circumstances? And youth are not shy about that, and they are brilliant.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. If we did 30% of it, it'd be transformative, and we can. And so as we go in and ask, one of the youth, when we were doing more of a pilot of this, wrote to us a statement that said, basically, if you're coming in here and asking us about these things, thank you for doing that. We're glad somebody is. And you better do something about it.
Yeah.
And,
Don't just talk about it.
And what are you going to do about it? And so we've been, I personally have been driven by that. Our whole work is about trying to honor that request, Yeah.
I love that. That makes me teary. What do you love most about yourself now that maybe younger you didn't know how to see?
Oh, gosh. These are really thought-provoking questions.
You didn't know that this is what you were getting
You
into,
didn't share these in advance.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you didn't, because I would have spent hours and hours
Dude,
and
you
hours.
thought about it. It wouldn't have been impromptu. And it's just a conversation. There's no right, wrong answer.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
There's
I'm gonna hang on.
no pressure to
I'm going to
answer
hang on
it,
to
too.
that. Yeah, gosh. Well, I'm sorry. One
It's
more
okay.
time. These are so good.
What do you love most about yourself now that maybe younger you didn't know how to see?
Oh, gosh. Maybe there's a through line. I wouldn't have had the words, but I just really, I value humility, and people say I am, and I'm not. It's just what it is, And I wouldn't have used those words before. I would have said shy, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I basically am, and have worked through some of that, and I think I really value that. This is just, who am I, and this is just my perspective. I'm not trying to convince you too much. There's some things I really have strong opinions about, and usually I'm not trying to convince you to see it my way. This is just how I see it.
Yeah.
And can we come together around that? And even around things that are really hard to figure out together, because we might have really different perspectives. If we come into that conversation with humility and openness, I think we can get somewhere, And so, shy, humility. There's some thread there of some kind, yeah.
Do you think we come here with a purpose or a mission? If so, how would you name yours at this stage of life?
Wow, I don't know if we come here. That's interesting. Do we come here? I think maybe. And there is. I think it's useful to take up a mission. Whether it's given to you or handed to you. Maybe, I guess for me, I'd prefer that it not be handed to me, that I can choose, and change my mind too. Along the way. So.
Did this feel like it was your mission?
It does feel like it, and at least it's been a thing. The prevention of violence and promotion of child well-being. It has been the kind of thing that has. I've always had a lot of energy for it, and I still do. And I'm not young, but I feel young about this, and so
Me too.
There's that, yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like it gives you a sense of purpose?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So many people come to me and say, "What is my purpose here?" And that's where this question is derived from.
Yeah.
How can someone know if they're on the right path for themselves, especially if they grew up in homes where safety and love were inconsistent?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. How do you know? Maybe you don't know, and that's okay too. But I think that we get to know more about ourselves in relationship, and so my hope is that everyone, whoever you are, that you've got people in your life. You're not alone. People see you. People accept you for who you are. That's a condition where then you start to become more clear about what you want, what you need, who you are, where you want to go. It's that container, and I just wish that for everyone. Yeah.
When you're 90 years old What do you want to have stood for, done, and given in the world in the realm of violence prevention and healing?
I think really that that I stood for persistence and for community-based solutions. And I've said it, I guess, a couple of times, but around I did a little bit of something where many more people felt hopeful about change, drew a conclusion that we have the capacity to reduce harm for kids and create safety, and then many more took action. Large, simple, daily action. Just that, yeah.
What's one topic in this field you could talk about for hours and never get bored?
I could keep having this conversation. Well, I want it to be less about, other than, I don't want it to
All
be.
the stuff about yourself?
No. I was going to say, I want it to be much less about me, but about the work. Yeah.
Okay.
I could. Yeah. No, I don't mean to change anything you're doing. But if I would have a long conversation, it'd be more about what
The work.
can we do together,
Yeah.
and more about that. So yeah.
Bringing more people together on it.
Well, I especially want to have more conversations with people who really disagree with me.
Why is that? Tell me.
Oh, that would be that. If we can stay in it, that's a wonderful conversation to have, and stay in an open way, because that's rich. I mean, I'd want to come into it open too, and what do I? There's a lot to learn, and I'd want to know more about their perspective, because I worry right now that even some of the solutions we've identified in a promotive plan, that many would see them they would go to a place that this is evil, we're trying to control minds, and it's like, I don't think we are actually. But if that's where you start and you can't get beyond it, then many fewer people would see themselves in it.
Right.
And so I enjoy having conversations with people who disagree with me.
Are you hoping that they're going to change their mind?
I'm hoping that they and I will be open to each other's perspective, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah.
What cultural or moral values do you hold in high regard, and how do they show up in the way that you teach, supervise, and lead?
I just had this amazing experience. I was invited to the Grace Table. You ever been to a Grace Table?
No.
Yeah. John and Jerry in Eugene, Springfield area. And I'm not sure if it's connected to some other movement or anything, but it's a very simple. They said, "Hey, you want to come to breakfast at the Grace Table?" I said, "Okay, what is it?" And they said, "Well," and so anyway, I went once, and it was just we went to a place for breakfast. There were 8 or 10 of us. I didn't know others necessarily. I happened to know one person. And it's just a conversation about what does grace mean to you, with very few rules. And the only agenda is don't talk about politics, and it was like, what are some of the experiences you've had where there was grace, and it's kind of related to kindness. And then I got invited. So they've been doing this for a while, and they had an alumni grace table event. And so I walked into this room, and there were small tables in a huge room. There were a couple of hundred people. So they've been doing the grace table for a little bit of time, and they did this alumni event. And a lot of people came, and we just talked about grace. And I facilitated one of the tables I was at. And so it was a conversation about grace, kindness, and examples of that, and what does that look like. And it was interesting because we started at this table, we started to talk about people in different parts of the room. And so somebody said, Stan right there, one thing that he's done, he was a principal for 40 years or something. And he was known for, at the beginning of every school day, he was out there for 40-ish years, something like this, for a long time, at the front of the building. He knew every child's name. He became famous. He knew every child's name. We've seen these things. Every child's name, greeted them as they come in. They felt seen, welcomed, etc. Appreciated as elementary, I think, in middle school. And I just, thought there's no budget for that.
I know.
It doesn't cost really much of anything, and it matters. And so I've lost track of your question, but
That's okay. That's okay. I said, what cultural or moral values do you hold in high regard, and how do they show up in the way you teach, supervise, and lead?
Okay. I'm with you still. Actually, it's the simple acts of kindness that are bold. People, kindness can be sort of I don't know, kind of reduced to, you're just nice. And
nice and kind are not the same.
Are they different things?
They're
okay. Yeah,
they are different things.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because nice could be like, it could be stay away from the thing,
and
just polite.
And also exactly.
Yeah.
Or masking or
masking. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Kindness. I think, I don't have the dictionary equivalent right now, but in my perspective, kindness comes from generosity of the heart. I think it's the truth of the heart. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice feels like what I need to do or should do or what I was taught to do.
Yeah.
I think kindness comes from somewhere else, comes from presence, comes from sitting or settling or not turning away from, or that's where kindness comes from. It's a different place.
I'm with
it's
you.
In my heart.
Yeah.
It's what Christians talk about. Many listeners are adult children of emotionally immature parents, survivors of intimate partner violence, or people raised in high conflict homes. Why is it so important to address those histories instead of just moving on?
Well, I would say addressing it needs to be a choice. It's like, I think a person can do really well and choose to say, I don't want to go. I don't want to open those doors. And there's some cost to that to some extent. And there's nothing more important in that circumstance than choice. And so if that's what you need to choose to do, all right on, how can I support you? There's that. And if someone does want to open up that space or those conversations and kind of notice what the harm that they experienced, then it's about doing that in a way where, again, it's not judgmental, et cetera. So you want to say more about the question? Yeah.
I flipped the page already. I was just saying that some of the listeners come from a background of abuse, right? And so why is it important to address that? Yeah, as opposed to turning away from it.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have been talking a lot about turning towards as opposed to turning.
Well, it's a chance to metabolize what happened, and
integrate it.
Yeah, and that it can transform it, and so doing that with someone who's really supportive and will just hang there with you if you need to cry, scream, laugh, whatever you might need to do. That being able to do that in the presence of others who are really like a caring, connected presence, then it gives you a chance to metabolize some of the things so that maybe you might be using other coping strategies because you need to, and it may allow you to let go of some of those that may be harmful for you. And so that chance to metabolize is often useful. Yeah. Yeah.
What's one thing you'd like a listener to hear if they're quietly living with violence in their home right now?
Yeah, that's such a common and such a hard thing. That you're in it, and you're living with it, and there aren't really easy ways to get out of it, and maybe you don't want to get out of it necessarily because maybe lots of things are good. Yeah. And people might be saying, get out of it. Well, that's simple to say. And there are lots of reasons that someone may need to or choose to stay in a circumstance. So if you're in it, I think there's two very different kinds of experiences. There's one where you're in it and you're truly alone. There's no one you can talk to. And so you're left only to your own conclusions, and then maybe to social scripts, and then maybe the person who's harming you to their conclusions about you. And that container is really hard. I think that's a lot of human suffering, in that container.
Yep.
And then so that's one way, and there's a lot of people who don't have many choices there. And what I hope is that even if you're still in it, for all the reasons you might be, that you're now in a slightly different, but very importantly different circumstance where you have one or two or just a small group of folks who you can share what's happening, and they're not necessarily telling you what you should do. They are just present and can help you have a clearer sense of what's happening, and that what is happening to you isn't your fault, etc. It's like having that. Those are two very different experiences, even though the harm can usually happen. And so I always hope for the latter, Yeah.
What if you're a child?
Oh, yeah. We give every advantage to the would-be harmer right now. And this is one of the things that we can change in society, and in Portland, and in Eugene and Springfield and Nooksack. These are things that we can change, where it doesn't have to be so isolated. And so, for example, because we signal to our kids that you can't talk about it. That's the message.
I know.
That's the signal, and we can change the signal. And so, for example, as we talk with Oregon youth, and I think this is probably very close to the same in most parts of the United States, where we asked youth, about, as I mentioned before, about harm that they experienced. And then we also asked them, and these are high school juniors and seniors mostly, we asked them, have you shared this with anybody at any time? And these are kids who had experienced, seen intimate partner violence or domestic violence. They've been sexually assaulted. Now we're asking more about identity-based violence. And so they experienced those kinds of harms. Have you shared this with anyone at any time? And 47% said, no, I haven't told anybody. And so many of our kids are being harmed the way you're talking about, and get a clear message that they have to keep it themselves.
Yep.
And that's a very difficult thing to live with.
Yes.
And then we've changed a couple of things with that work, and this is happening right now throughout the state of Oregon. We now, as we ask about, have you shared this with anyone at any time, we changed the questionnaire a bit so that we have that now specific to the type of harm. So, for example, in Oregon, right, we've got about 1,000 youth that participated so far, trying to get to 1,800, so we have a representative sample. But so far in Oregon, of the kids that have participated, 47% now are saying they've experienced sexual abuse. That's a lot of Oregon kids.
Yes, it is.
And that includes contact and non-contact sexual assault.
Yep.
Those are Oregon kids. And then as I mentioned, we're asking specific to the harm type, have you shared this with anyone at any time?
And they haven't.
And to that question about sexual violence, 62% of youth are now
too much shame.
17, 18 years old and haven't told anybody. The question is, have you told anybody at any time? And 62% is like, and they're like, and then we ask about that, and we've done a lot of that, and they're like, I don't got to tell anybody. I don't trust the response. It's not going to go well. It won't help. There are lots of reasons why they might not tell.
Yes.
And I'm not blaming a youth for not telling. That's on us.
Yep.
That changes the container so that they can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For someone who feels broken or too damaged, what can they do today to move 1% closer to safety and self-compassion?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do you have an answer to that?
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
I have an answer.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. Are you okay to share it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for anybody that I can, the reason why I was laughing and silent before that with a big sigh is because I was thinking about my own experience and I didn't tell anyone. So I was experiencing a little counter-transference and transference as you were talking,
yes,
but either way,
yes.
I will say that for anyone that's feeling broken or too damaged, that's just a story that someone has either taught you and you've absorbed, that you've been told at some point, that you've absorbed from somewhere. You weren't born on this planet thinking that you were too broken or too anything, really, honestly. And so I always say the only way out is through.
Yeah.
Meaning a lot of people, and we were talking about this as we were walking up the stairs coming in, when we're in our program, we're taught, that a lot of times we're sitting in front of somebody and we're holding that space and we're listening, and that is the intervention, is just being with someone.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes just being with yourself, as opposed to pushing away from it, as opposed to having rigidity, as opposed to shaming yourself about it, that shame again, right? If I can get one step closer to it, if I can at least admit that it's happened, if I can at least forgive myself for that it's happened. Maybe I'm not ready to forgive that it happened or who I experienced it with, but if I can at least experience myself for either not knowing better, not knowing how to protect myself, not being able to protect myself, if I can forgive myself for the fact that it's happened to me, I think that's 1% closer to being able to heal that, or being able to feel more whole, or being able to feel more love for myself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That seems like a really important 1%.
It's probably more like 25, but either way, it's a good step closer. Yeah, that's probably on the other side of the 1%, right? That's the effect of the 1%, but the 1% would be to take a step closer to it. And I think, and I'll steal this from one of my professors, because I think it's an amazing way to describe this. When I work with clients on their past, a lot of times people have a lot of anxiety about that, right? They don't want to relive it. They don't want to be re-traumatized. And I always say, look, when we're working with your inner child, it's not like, I want you to think of it as a bookshelf, and there's a bunch of books on it. And we at least have to admit that the titles are there. You don't necessarily need to go in and read every single part of the book.
Nice.
But we have to admit that it's happened. That's our first step, right? We don't have to relive it, but we at least have to address the fact that it is part of our experience and it makes us who we are. It's shaped an entire career for you. It's shaped an entire career for me. And made me be the person that I am.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I like the image of it's there, and then you can select, you know? And how can I, if you want to select that, is there anything I can be supportive around, But I'm choosing,
I'm choosing the book, and I'm at least admitting that the title is there. And if I want to go through all of the chapters, sure. But ultimately, book title. It works great for me for metaphors. So I thought that was incredible. Okay, we already answered that. How do you feel we can incorporate more love, real grounded love for ourselves and for the world around us as we work to end violence?
Yeah, it's powerful to think about what each of us can do every day in our simple interactions. And what is it? It's not like I'm giving you love. How lucky are you because I did this? It's not. It needs to be, I think, more peer based than that. But that what will I do? This is whatever time it is right now. I've lost track of time.
Right now?
But whatever from this moment.
It's probably like 11 o'clock,
Okay. From this moment until the sun sets, how many opportunities will I have to do something that's loving or kind, etc. There will actually, and how many times I can turn toward or not, and there will be many. There will be many, and there will also be many opportunities to be cruel, and to throw judgment and cast stones, and that's easy to do. And
Why is that easier to do?
I think it takes less restraint. I don't know. We're wired somehow, to lash out.
Yeah.
I think it seems to me, maybe this is just me, that the doing the kind act might be a little more of an inconvenience because you have to then hang there for a while usually, and so I don't know. I think the being cruel doesn't take any creativity. We got lots of words. It's maybe easier because there are lots of words that we use culturally to put somebody down.
And to push away from
and all the
our
things.
feelings.
Yeah.
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 From our true feelings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. What are you willing to fight for and why?
Gosh, lots of things.
Tell us.
I'm willing to fight for. This is maybe a little political, but whatever. And that for the liberty and justice for all.
Let's bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've never achieved that.
No, I mean, even just the phrase.
Well,
I think people forgotten that,
right.
just that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For all. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is justice? What is liberty, actually? And do we mean for all?
No, I don't think that we did in the inception of this country.
Yeah.
And that is what we're seeing being leveraged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, and it was somehow, it's amazing how that was an ideal, justice for all. And so you write those words at the same time that you are the only one who can own property and vote. Justice for all. And so we have a pretty amazing ability to do two very contradictory things at the same time.
Yes, we do.
And it's hard to admit that was our origin, and we haven't quite brought those things together yet. And people are fighting for it, and they're fighting to bring those things more into alignment and to reach that ideal. And there's a lot of pushback, and that ideal is a good one. I'm not sure we have agreement on what it looks like.
Nope.
And that's part of the struggle right now. People feel threatened by actually justice for all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that something that you are fighting for?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in that fight. Yeah. And I think you can't get to childhood safety and well-being and like 90% reductions of harm in our communities without justice. And you can't get there without it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that what gets you out of bed in the morning?
That's a big part of it, yeah.
And the reason why you don't fall asleep until the wee hours?
Yeah, because partly too is because I'm worrying about it and trying to
figure it out.
It's a puzzle.
It is a puzzle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Your contributions.
And we have most of the pieces to that puzzle. Yeah.
Oh, of course we do.
Yeah.
We know the right things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if only we could listen to each other,
Mm-hmm.
but we know what we should be doing.
Not a
There's
huge mystery.
enough. There's enough of us that know what we should be doing. Yes, there's that word should. But either way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you could put one sentence on a billboard that every adult in Oregon had to read about violence, trauma, and healing, what would it say?
How are the kids? Yeah, it'd be a question. Mm-hmm.
And finally, what can the listeners expect to feel or know differently after they take this conversation into their own lives?
I really appreciate your questions. And so I would just hope that they would imagine being interviewed by you and, and how would they respond, And these are just my responses, and hopefully it's thought provoking for others. And what does it mean for you as an individual in your life, in your day, what drives you, and who are you? Who do you choose to be in your own community? It's that. Yeah.
Is there anything, since we're finishing up, is there anything that you wanted to share or you wanted to ask me? I'll turn it over to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh.
I know you brought some things to share, so I'm alluding to that.
We got to a lot of it.
Okay, good.
And how about if you hand me, I'll take your questions in minutes.
It's hard to be in the hot seat, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if I could share I do want to share one thing here that I
Please
brought.
do.
And I'm happy to ask you questions too,
Sure.
if you do want to do that.
Yeah, of course.
So, I'll give a little context to this, but I want to read these verbatim quotes.
Okay.
But here's a little context. I had this incredible opportunity a few years ago. Got invited by Inside Out.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was a class that happens, I think, all over the country. But there was an instructor at the U of O who was doing an Inside Out class at the state penitentiary in Salem, and it was something like 20, I think about 20 men in this class, plus a few U of O students, and they would take the class together. And they had heard about the work in our community that we've been calling the 90 by 30 initiative. And it's this question, imagine it's December 31st, 2030, and we've reduced child maltreatment by 90%. Not everywhere, just right here in this community. What do we do? What do we need to do now was the question. And that fueled our center and lots of things. And so they had the Inside Out class, and then the men that were taking the class, who were, most of them I learned, would never leave the penitentiary due to their crimes. They said, hey, will that guy come and give some lectures? And I said, oh my gosh, I would love to go, but I don't want to give lectures. I'd like to go and have some conversations. I'd like to ask them the 90 by 30 question. And they're like, okay. And so I went twice. And it was really incredible, this incredible experience. I'd never been inside of a state penitentiary. And I went in, and there's lots of checks and bars and
Yes,
things,
there
of course. And it went back deeper. I could have never got myself out without an escort. I had no idea where I was. And up into these stairs, and finally up into a classroom, not unlike this space. And I sat down.
It was like this?
Well, it was not as, maybe it doesn't have the same vibe. But in terms of the size.
I was like, wow, that's unusual for a state penitentiary.
That's true. Yeah, I should qualify it. About the size.
Okay.
And so, the 20 men file in, and then a few U of O students, and then me. And I went. They invited me back. I went twice, and I was asking them about this. What do you think we need to do? How do we prevent harm, et cetera? And so what I have here are just some of their quotes.
I can't wait.
Yeah. And most of them said, yeah, thank you for being here, and we hope this is useful, and we'll never leave. And so they said things like this. You have to make it, so this is the issue of harm, you have to make it a public health issue. Break down social stigma. Nobody wants to admit it. People do feel regret when they abuse their kids. Address the regret. The idea that the community will reject you is the heart of the silence. It needs to be okay to admit it and okay to seek help. There is so much shame, embarrassment, and fear involved. We need to reduce the shame and embarrassment and address the fear. Take away the negative connotation that comes with not being sure what to do. A key factor is that families cling together, sometimes no matter how bad it is, regardless. It is believed to be worse to allow someone in. There is a real perception of threat. Kids fear this response, too. We must remove this connotation. To not tolerate it, we have to fully accept it. Increased awareness is vital. We can't be pretending. We need to have a different kind of dialogue with the problem. Catch it early and provide support. We need to help people to step in, to be a different kind of bystander. Nobody would say anything. Yeah. I was really, really touched by those. I just felt so grateful to have been there a couple of times, and have that also has just fueled me. And they had deep knowledge of what they were talking about. It was really powerful.
They've had a lot of time to think about it with absolutely no distraction.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah.
Absolutely no distraction except for themselves.
Yeah.
In the outside world, you can scroll on social media for an hour and a half when you're feeling emotionally dysregulated about something, and avoid things by buying a bottle of booze that night. There's multiple ways to get very away from yourself. And a state penitentiary doesn't allow you to do that.
I wouldn't think so. I don't know. I don't have stereotypes probably about what it's like.
There's no opportunity. No opportunity for distraction. Sometimes TV.
Yeah.
Sometimes
really
out
share.
time.
Yeah.
Sometimes out time. Gym time. But other than that, outside time. But very little distraction.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of time to think.
Wow.
I haven't been in a state penitentiary. I've been in a women's correctional facility.
Okay. Yeah. So you know what that can be like. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even there for very long, and I already had plenty of time to think about it.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. So when you have that time to think about it, then do you imagine you might come up with some of this? Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because it's the same reason why people are attracted to mind-altering substances. They're trying to get to the bottom of something rather quickly, right?
To get to the bottom of something rather quickly. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shortcut. You could say it's peeling away the veil. It gets me closer to God or truth. Or, I'm looking for an answer on something. Generally speaking, that's why people move that direction. Yeah. Or they're trying to put the pause button on something for sure, too. There's that. And that's more pharmaceuticals, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, if I'm unhoused, living on the street, and I have a meth addiction, that's more of trying to escape trying to escape my reality.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to imagine, what that'd be like. Yeah.
So, okay. You had some questions for me too?
Well, yeah, one is do you have other reflections to what was said there?
Oh.
What'd you hear?
I heard that we need to listen to our victims as much as the people who perpetuate the violence. I think in a culture of Me Too movement right now, I'm not saying that the victims, and I did say this earlier in the podcast, let's listen to our victims or believe our victims when they speak. But I think we also need to understand and hear why people get to the place where they feel so alone in the abuse, right? I think we need to, I just heard over and over and over again to dispel the lack of involvement or the lack of privilege of people being able to speak about this more, or the shame around speaking this more. I heard a lot of shame.
Shame comes up a lot.
There's so much shame.
Yeah.
For any abuse. Whether it's the victim or the perpetrator. Yeah. There's a lot of shame. A lot of times, actually, it's a handoff of shame.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
It's carried shame. Yeah, a lot of the shame that I feel as a victim isn't even mine. It's carried shame.
What would you say? Carried shame?
Carried
shame. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what leads to emotional dysregulation. Essentially, it's my own shame, carried shame, and pushing away from feelings. Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah.
What do you get out of all of that? I mean, you shared that it was a really profound experience and you felt very privileged to be able to go.
I did, yeah. It's a lot of what you just said. One, I was touched that they had heard about this and really wanted to be involved.
Okay.
Yeah. How can we be involved? And then when invited to share out, it was one of the most incredible conversations I've ever been a part of. It was rich, and I felt like I was in a room with experts. Yeah.
Honest.
And honest. Yeah, very honest. Yeah, and that they were. And I thought they were being honest and authentic, and really had deep knowledge of the issues. And I don't mean that to romanticize it. That was my experience. Like, wow, they are. It's similar to when we've been in conversation with Oregon youth about their recommendations for change. Yeah, similar threads. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our youth are brilliant. They do have all of the answers. So what are some of the answers? You said we know what to do. We've kind of skirted around that. But what should we be doing?
The primary thing that youth have said around, if kind of going back to disclosure, like I'm not sharing this with anybody, and not trying to get youth to disclose if they're not ready, because there may be circumstances, but their kind of a driving message was we really need a different kind of a message from adults, and we need to know that that harm happens, because right now we're getting the message that you're kind of not even acknowledging that this is real. And so we need to know that and we need to know that if I might choose to share with you something about what's happening for me, harm or other things, that you're up for it, that you're going to do it well, you're not going to mishandle it, that you understand that some conversations can be confidential, and that it's going to actually go well. And if you do that, I'll be much more likely to share with you what's going on for me. And there are practical things that we can do too around more access to confidential advocates. Right now, a lot of youth are saying, I know about mandatory reporting, and so I'm not going to tell you what's going on because I worry that that's going to destroy something in my life, destroy family or other things, and so I'm not going to tell you because I don't trust the system's response.
Yeah.
And there are other kinds of responses that exist, and that can at least come in alongside mandatory reporting around confidential advocates, and that's a thing. That's a practical thing we can do that could change some of the reasons why youth don't tell us what's going on. So a lot of it's about that, changing that signal. And then that creates lots of opportunities. And then there's actually just a long list of other things that we can do. And as we're ready to share more about the promotive plan, it is a long list of practical things we can do. And so I will share that with you later. I just need permission to send it out, because it's a long list.
Okay. Yeah. But ultimately, providing safety for our youth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate our conversation. Yes, it was a delight to finally have you in person. And
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing all the vulnerable things, too, about you, and sharing some of your history, too. I think that enriches the story for why you do and why you're drawn to this work. And I wanted to highlight you, too, because you're a terrific human being.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.